Hi everyone, here is my Module 5 practices screencast. So our question was, how can I use the engineering design process to design a squishy circuit STEM lesson for my students? The imagine part, I wanted to create a lesson that will engage my students as well as be relevant to them. I'm a big Harry Potter fan and my students are aware of this, and I saw Emily's example screencast that was provided to us. I actually teach with Emily. She's one of my coworkers, and she's a big Star Wars fan, and I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and I saw her Star Wars lightsaber project, and I kind of wanted to go off of this and make something for Harry Potter. So here is my plan. I first started by looking into just regular circuits and using the squishy project that we got, and I just followed the directions for how to set up an initial STEM circuit. So then I started thinking, okay, now how can I turn this into something Harry Potter related? And my first thought was to do a wand. So I used a paper towel tube, I cut it, and then my original plan was to think, okay, now I'm going to use these Play-Doh pieces to create the circuit. So when I first started, I thought, okay, I'm going to have just the red and the blue and with the Play-Doh, and it didn't end up working. So then I'm like, okay, well now I need to add something to kind of make a buffer so that these two pieces aren't touching. And at first it worked. I got it to light up, but then I put it in the paper towel tube and I tried to roll it so that it looked more like a wand. And that's when the Play-Doh pieces started touching. As you can kind of see in the picture, they were very close together, so I had to go back to the drawing board. Then I decided, okay, I'm going to stick with the idea, but I'm going to make sure this insulation part is completely going around so that the red and the blue Play-Doh pieces aren't touching. And that did end up working for me. I got it to light, and then I was able to roll it like I had envisioned and create my wand. Some things to improve. I already did mention my first try did not work. I had to improve by wrapping the entire piece of the conductive Play-Doh in the insulator. Once I did that, I needed to make sure the whole piece was covered by the conductive Play-Doh or else the circuit would not work. I would also like to look for other ways to make the light brighter because it wasn't very bright. It was kind of dim. I would also like to explore other circuit conductors like conductor tape to make this process a little easier to make wands and a little easier for my second grade students too. Here is my lesson plan. You can kind of go through that as I will have it attached. Here is the chart here. Does the lesson present a real world engineering problem? Yes, the lesson challenges students to create a working circuit. Will students relate to the problem? Yes and no. Students can relate to the problem with Harry Potter, but some of them aren't big Harry Potter fans like I am, so they might lose a little interest there. Does the lesson allow for multiple acceptable and creative approaches? Yes, it will allow for students to create different wand types, but students are given a direct way to create the circuit and the wand. They have to use that tube like I had envisioned. The next question, yes, science students are required to make a working circuit, and in math they have to use what they've learned in math to create their wand. Does the lesson clearly use the engineering design process? Yes. As you can see, here are those steps, and students are creating their wand and circuit design on their own. Students are creating a wand, and students will recognize that the circuit is what is creating the light from the wand. Last part here, students will be working in teams to create their wand and circuit. Students will need to test their circuit and wand. If needed, students can make changes to their circuit and wand design, kind of like I had to do through the process, and students will communicate to the class how they designed their circuit and wand. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing everybody else's projects.